for a 3D experience like no other. From the endless mysteries of space to the teeming life and stunning diversity of our oceans, travel to the final frontiers of human exploration and witness the marvels of our world in a way you've never seen before. Prepare to be transported to the exotic, the unique, the distant, and the amazing. Explore the wonders of our universe that exist far above the Earth and far below its surface. Above and Below, Mondays starting at 8, only on 3Net.
On an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean lies the largest active volcano on the planet. A massive mountain, taller than Everest, rising 31,000 feet from the seafloor. A geological hotspot, erupting for over 70 million years, formed the most isolated ecosystems on Earth. Here, flowing lava generates new life and new land. This is Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park. In the Pacific Ocean, more than 2,000 miles from the nearest continental landmass, the Hawaiian archipelago is the most geographically isolated group of islands on Earth. In the southeast corner of the island of Hawaii is the geothermal marvel named Volcanoes National Park. Most people think of Hawaii as a tropical paradise, but Volcanoes National Park is a land of rugged extremes. Covering 500 square miles, the park extends from the sea to the top of the world's most massive volcano. There are 13 different climate zones on Earth, and 11 are found in Volcanoes National Park. A 2-hour drive up the mountain passes through everything from wet tropical forest to desolate dry deserts, semi-arid grasslands, and frozen alpine tundra. Hawaii has the 2 tallest mountains on Earth when measured from their base on the ocean floor. Both Mauna Kea and Mauna Loa rise over 31,000 feet, which is too high for trees to survive. And despite the tropical sunshine, the tops are capped with snow in winter. The volcanoes are so massive, their combined weight pushes down on the Earth's crust, causing a depression 4 miles deep. And the island of Hawaii is still growing, because Mauna Loa and the smaller Kilauea are both very active volcanoes. Kilauea is the national park's youngest volcano, 90% covered in lava, less than 1,000 years old. The volume of erupted material is large enough to pave a road around the world 3 times. No wonder, in the language of Hawaii, Kilauea means much spreading or spewing. Kilauea has been constantly spewing lava since 1983, making it one of the world's most active volcanoes. Kilauea has erupted more than 60 times in recorded history, and many more are recorded in the oral tradition of the first people of the land. They came from distant islands in the South Pacific, arriving in Hawaii more than 1,600 years ago. Life on active volcanoes soon transformed their Polynesian culture into something uniquely Hawaiian. They chronicled their history and mythology in unique chanting, singing, and dancing called hula. Sometimes they danced to appease the gods, especially the dangerous deity living in the fiery pit at the summit of Kilauea. According to early Hawaiian traditions, there was a time in the mysterious past when a thin veil separated the natural from the supernatural. This was when Pele, the goddess of the volcano, came to Hawaii. As both creator and destroyer, Pele throws molten fountains into the air and governs the great flows of lava. Even today, floral necklaces called leis are left at the rim of her crater, a small tribute to a goddess famous for her violent temper. Hawaiian folklore suggests that the very first lei was made of red flowers and given to the volcano goddess by her sister. Over the centuries, people formed an uneasy truce with Pele and her volcanoes. But their traditional way of life came to an end when Captain James Cook arrived in 1778 and introduced the rest of the world to Hawaii. By 1845, the land of Pele had become so famous, intrepid tourists were making the journey just to see an active volcano. And one man saw an opportunity. Born and raised in Hawaii, Loren Thurston was a lawyer with a bold plan for the land he loved. Interested in developing the islands of Hawaii, he passionately promoted the volcanoes to the world, which in turn supported his many business interests. Thurston had invested in the only accommodation in the Kilauea area, transforming a primitive thatched hut into the Volcano House, a comfortable hotel perched on the edge of the Kilauea crater. Kilauea was now so popular that Thurston feared for its future. He believed only the federal government could provide the protection the unique landscape deserved. But there was a problem. Congress had already created 10 national parks in America and was reluctant to authorize another in what was, at the time, only a U.S. territory, not a state. So Thurston called for help from some very influential friends. Thurston's classmate at Columbia University was John Muir, the father of America's national parks. Both Muir and President Theodore Roosevelt joined Thurston's campaign to protect the Hawaiian volcanoes. Thurston even raised funds from local government to bring 50 congressmen and their wives to Hawaii for a banquet on top of the volcanoes. After 10 years of intensive lobbying, Thurston's hard work finally paid off. In 1916, President Woodrow Wilson signed into law the creation of the 11th National Park in America. The volcanoes were the only national park in a U.S. territory, 43 years before Hawaii would become a state. In 1987, Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park became a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognizing the island's outstanding natural values. In Hawaii, the unique process of island building is laid bare for all to see, because the national park sits on top of an enormous geological hotspot.
This month on 3Net, see the world in 3D as only IMAX can show you. Galapagos brings you closer than ever before to the place where land's oldest reptiles meet the mammals of the marine and one of the last pristine places on Earth. L5 launches you into the future, to a city in outer space where humans will live in and travel throughout our very own solar system. NASCAR puts you in the driver's seat for the heart-pounding 3D thrills of America's most popular spectator sport. And T-Rex takes you back 65 million years for a prehistoric adventure that brings you face to face with the fiercest of the dinosaurs. This month, only on 3Net.
In the middle of the Pacific, a geological hotspot has been leaking molten lava into the ocean for 70 million years, creating an archipelago of 130 islands. The Hawaiian hotspot is stationary, but the ocean floor is moving. As each mountain of lava is dragged away from the hotspot, a new island forms in its place. And the youngest in the chain is the Big Island of Hawaii. Volcanoes National Park sits directly over the geological hotspot. The steaming crater of Kilauea still taps the magma source that created the islands of the Hawaiian archipelago. The enormous volcanoes have been created over the last million years, built up by thin layers of lava oozing slowly across the land. Early geologists called Kilauea the safest volcano on Earth. In 1924, visitors would even climb into the crater to look at a lake of lava. For years, the crater had been filled with a bubbling, frothing lake of molten rock. But in February 1924, everything changed. The lava drained away, and for a month, earthquakes rocked the area as the crater repeatedly collapsed in on itself, until it was a 700 feet deep hole in the ground. The opening that once led to the magma chamber was now blocked by rubble and giant boulders. When groundwater seeping into the chamber encountered the hot rock and magma, it flashed into steam. And on May 11, 1924, Kilauea erupted. A column of volcanic ash and dust was blasted more than 12,000 feet into the air. The massive explosion cleared the rubble blocking the magma chamber, but caused more of the crater to collapse, once again blocking the vent, which led to another explosion. The cycle was repeated for 17 days. Hundreds of steam explosions hurled white-hot rocks and ash across Kilauea and far beyond. Locals living 20 miles from the crater estimated the eruption covered the land with more than 2 tons of ash per acre. But far more dangerous were the boulders and rocks being thrown from the volcano with incredible force. One 10-ton boulder was launched from the bottom of the crater, which was almost 2,000 feet deep. It soared over 1 mile high into the sky before landing half a mile from the volcano. At the end of May, the explosion subsided, having blasted away all the debris blocking the vent, and in the process, doubled the width of the Kilauea crater. Today, Kilauea is quieter, but far from dormant. Each day, the crater still spews out a cocktail of nearly 3,000 tons of ash, steam, and deadly sulfur dioxide gas. Geologists estimate that Kilauea has erupted 60 times since it was formed over 300,000 years ago. And most of those eruptions produce less ash and more lava. 2 miles from the main vent is another crater called Kilauea Iki, meaning Little Kilauea. In 1959, this hole in the side of the mountain was twice as deep and covered with lush forest. But after a swarm of earthquakes, 1,000 in September alone, a half-mile-long crack suddenly ruptured the crater wall. Torrents of molten rock cascaded into the crater, setting fire to the forest. In just 1 month, the crater was filled with a lake of lava 400 feet deep. Over the next 5 weeks, fountains of lava gushed from the vent in 17 separate surges. Lava pouring from the vent generated waves of molten rock, so the lake pitched like an ocean in a storm. Fountains of lava shot 1,900 feet into the sky before raining down on the surrounding forest. Today, visitors walk past Kilauea Iki on Devastation Trail. The mountainside was buried under a 40-foot layer of cinders and ash. The hill at the center of the crater was created by a fountain of lava spurting higher than the Empire State Building. The eruption of Kilauea Iki lasted only 37 days, but ejected over 400 million cubic feet of lava. Geologists have no way of knowing when the next eruption will occur in the Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park. The slow drift of the Pacific tectonic plate will eventually carry Kilauea away from the geological hotspot, but not for at least another 500,000 years. Until then, visitors will continue to leave gifts for the goddess Pele. Because in this national park, it's not a matter of when the volcanoes will erupt, but for how long.
This month on 3Net, see the world in 3D as only IMAX can show you. Galapagos brings you closer than ever before to the place where land's oldest reptiles meet the mammals of the marine and one of the last pristine places on Earth. L5 launches you into the future, to a city in outer space where humans will live in and travel throughout our very own solar system. NASCAR puts you in the driver's seat for the heart-pounding 3D thrills of America's most popular spectator sport. And T-Rex takes you back 65 million years for a prehistoric adventure that brings you face to face with the fiercest of the dinosaurs. This month, only on 3Net.
Hawaii's Volcanoes National Park is growing bigger by the day. Since 1983, Kilauea has continuously oozed out more than 1 billion cubic yards of lava. This is the world's largest and longest-running eruption. The pillar-like contours are uniquely Hawaiian, formed as lobes of liquid magma push through cracks in the crust of cooled rock. It's called pahoehoe, which translates as smooth, unbroken lava. Kilauea produces up to 1,300 gallons of pahoehoe every second. The molten rock reaches temperatures of more than 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The least viscous of all lava, pahoehoe can run for miles down the mountainside. One of the longest flows ever recorded was an eruption from Mauna Loa that stretched nearly 30 miles. The relentless flow of lava from Kilauea has created more than 500 acres of new land in Volcanoes National Park in just 30 years. Layer upon layer of lava slowly oozes downhill until it reaches the Pacific Ocean. When molten lava first hits the sea, it creates an unstable base of rocks, quickly covered by more lava. Without a solid foundation, huge chunks of the island shear off, like ice from a glacier, leaving steep vertical cliffs. Gravity-defying natural sculptures are created when the sea exploits weaknesses in the different layers of lava. Further inland, layers of lava also produce strange subterranean shapes. This is the Thurston Lava Tube, named after the champion of Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park, Lauren Thurston. His young niece Mary actually discovered the entrance, and together with her uncle, climbed down into the 500-year-old cave. A lava tube is an underground tunnel formed when the outer surfaces of a pahoehoe lava stream solidify, creating a hollow tube around the flow of molten rock. Because the tube walls are good thermal insulators, the lava remains molten longer and flows farther. When the lava flow stops, only the tunnel remains, running 1,500 feet underground. The unique properties of pahoehoe create lava tubes and the national park's towering volcanoes. The sprawling slopes of Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea are layer upon layer of pahoehoe. The lava, slowly spilling in all directions out of the central summit, cools into a gently sloping dome. They're called shield volcanoes because their flattened shapes are reminiscent of a warrior's shield. The flows of pahoehoe produce a barren volcanic landscape. But as soon as it cools, the forces of erosion set to work on the lava. When volcanic gases oxidize and react with water, they form acids, which break down the hardened lava into clay, often stained red and brown with iron oxide. The yellow minerals are crystals of pure sulfur, formed from the chemical reaction between volcanic gases rich in sulfur dioxide and hydrogen sulfide. The volcanic gases failed to impress Mark Twain when he visited the sulfur banks on the rim of Kilauea in 1866. He wrote, "The smell of sulfur is strong, but not unpleasant to a sinner." Sulfur dioxide is a noxious chemical and reacts with water to form sulfuric acid. But the native ohia tree grows right next to the sulfur banks, having adapted to periodic exposure to the harsh volcanic gases. Tiny pores in each leaf quickly close when the concentration of sulfur dioxide becomes too dangerous. When the wind changes and the air clears, the pores reopen. Plants and animals have found countless extraordinary adaptations to survive in this isolated wilderness. This is why in Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park, evolution has been taken to the extreme.
This month on 3Net, see the world as only IMAX can show you. Galapagos brings you closer than ever before to one of the last pristine places on Earth. L5 launches you into a future city in outer space. NASCAR puts you in the driver's seat for heart-pounding 3D thrills. And T-Rex brings you face-to-face with the fiercest of the dinosaurs. This month, only on 3Net.
Hawaii is the world's most isolated archipelago. The volcanic islands rose naked from the Pacific Ocean more than 2,000 miles from either the United States or Asia. All life on the new land could only come from across the ocean, on the wind or the waves. Plants and animals started colonizing the islands over 70 million years ago and began to evolve in nearly complete isolation. The first arrivals faced a hostile land of bare volcanic rock. But fern and moss spores were waiting on the winds, and seeds were floating on waves or caught in the feet and feathers of birds. On average, one new life form colonized the islands of Hawaii every 25,000 years. Once on the new land, the colonists diversified dramatically. All of Hawaii's 2,500 different plants are derived from only 275 immigrants. That's why Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park is a living laboratory for the study of evolutionary processes. Over millions of years, the founders of Hawaii's flora and fauna evolved in isolation. And without the pressures of predators and grazing mammals, Hawaii's native species evolved differently from their mainland counterparts. With no large hungry herbivores on the island, plants gradually lost most of their natural defense mechanisms, producing nettleless nettles and mintless mints. Others became giants. In most places, lobelias are small, colorful, flowering ornamentals. But on Hawaii, they were transformed and now grow an astonishing 40 feet tall. But even more astounding is what happened to the insects living in the steaming forests of Hawaii. It's believed that the 10,000 species of insects and spiders on the islands all evolved from as few as 150 original ancestors. The remote volcanic islands of Hawaii became an evolutionary frontier for species capable of exploiting new opportunities. That's why more than 90% of the native terrestrial flora and fauna in Hawaii is found nowhere else on the planet. This level of endemism surpasses even the Galapagos Islands, making Hawaii the most biologically unique place on Earth. And yet, this magnificent tropical paradise can be destroyed in a matter of hours. The same eruptions that lifted the Hawaiian Islands out of the Pacific Ocean spread fire and destruction across the land. Scientists calculate that on the Mauna Loa volcano, every 1,000 years, 40% of the surface is covered by new lava flows. But in Hawaii, the flames of destruction also generate new species. When lava flows through the forest, it's about the temperature of molten gold. Treetops collapse and become passengers on the lava surface, burning as they float downstream. When the lava supply is cut off, the flood of molten rock diminishes, leaving a sterile black sheet studded with very strange shapes. These stone pillars are called tree molds. While the tops of the trees were destroyed, their trunks were literally plastered with lava. They were formed because the temperature of the trunk was nearly 2,000 degrees lower than the lava. So when the two came into contact, a sleeve of solid rock froze around the trunk. In Hawaii, lava flows create hollow tombstones for the trees they destroy. But the meandering molten rock also creates islands of living forest. Surrounded by a sea of lava, the green oasis is called a kipuka. A sanctuary for plants and animals seeking to escape the volcanic destruction. The forest remnant also becomes a rapidly evolving island within an island. In Hawaii, geology and biodiversity go hand in hand. Some species unable to cross the sterile black lava field are cut off from the rest of their kind. The genetic differences in the tiny population are magnified. Over many generations, a mutation may hit the evolutionary jackpot, and a new species will be formed. Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park is a shelter for what remains of the once rich tapestry of Hawaiian life, a tapestry being unraveled by alien species. The national park is dedicated to preserving this remnant of pristine Hawaii. But it won't be easy, because living on top of an active volcano poses unique challenges.
Mondays on 3Net. Journey to the farthest reaches of our world and beyond for a 3D experience like no other. From the endless mysteries of space to the teeming life and stunning diversity of our oceans, travel to the final frontiers of human exploration and witness the marvels of our world in a way you've never seen before. Prepare to be transported to the exotic, the unique, the distant, and the amazing. Explore the wonders of our universe that exist far above the Earth and far below its surface. Above and Below, Mondays starting at 8, only on 3Net.
Visitors to Hawaii face unusual hazards. Roads wind through the black rubble of apparently ancient lava fields. But the constantly changing landscape on the slopes of one of the world's most active volcanoes causes problems for the Hawaiian Department of Transport. There are two main roads in Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park. One drives around the massive Kilauea crater. The other meanders along the coast, or at least it used to. The road has been closed since 1986, when the first lava flows rolled down the slopes of the Kilauea volcano. Since then, more than 8 miles of highway have been buried, sometimes to a depth of 82 feet. The Hawaii Department of Transport once tried to reopen the highway, only to see the new roadwork wiped out by fresh lava flows. And since Kilauea is erupting today, the road will remain closed for the foreseeable future. At least nobody was hurt by the flowing lava. Kilauea is very closely watched by the Hawaii Volcano Observatory. And the molten rock moves at walking speed, so it's extremely unlikely the lava would catch anyone by surprise. Today, visitors can walk across the lava field in perfect safety. However, another path across Kilauea reveals the history of America's most deadly volcanic eruption. Over the centuries, the first people of Hawaii had established safe paths through the lava fields. But in 1790, when two Hawaiian tribes were at war, a large group of warriors traveling past Kilauea were caught in the open when the mountain exploded. Hurricane-force winds blasted the warriors with hot ash and sulfuric gases, killing at least 80 people. Only their footprints remain, fossilized when rain turned the fine ash into thick mud, which quickly solidified in the tropical sun and were preserved in the arid desert. Despite its relative safety for researchers and visitors alike, Kilauea is regarded by the United States Geological Survey as the most dangerous volcano in America. But instead of keeping well clear of the crater, Kilauea is the most visited attraction in Hawaii and the most visited volcano in the world. For nearly 30 years, people have been watching the crater spew lava across the national park, a sight that truly comes to life at night. In 1866, Mark Twain described the lava fields as magnificently lit, like the campfires of a great army far away. And like an army, the lava destroys all in its path. Between 1983 and 1990, lava flows repeatedly invaded communities along Kilauea's southern slopes. Anything in their path was knocked over, surrounded, buried, and burned. Two villages were covered with over 50 feet of lava, and nearly 200 structures were destroyed. In Hawaii, there's an ancient proverb: fire will never say that it's had enough. But devastating lava flows, catastrophic eruptions, and regular earthquakes are just a fact of life for the people of Hawaii. The risks of living on the world's biggest volcanoes are far outweighed by the advantages of life in a tropical paradise. Even the first men on the moon benefited from time spent in Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park.
Mondays on 3Net. Journey to the farthest reaches of our world and beyond for a 3D experience like no other. From the endless mysteries of space to the teeming life and stunning diversity of our oceans, travel to the final frontiers of human exploration and witness the marvels of our world in a way you've never seen before. Prepare to be transported to the exotic, the unique, the distant, and the amazing. Explore the wonders of our universe that exist far above the Earth and far below its surface. Above and Below, Mondays starting at 8, only on 3Net.
At more than 13,000 feet above sea level, the summits of the largest volcanoes on the planet, Mauna Loa and Mauna Kea, were once sacred places to the ancient Hawaiians. Only the highest-ranking tribal chiefs could enter the land of the gods. The summit of Mauna Kea is the meeting place of the Earth Mother and Sky Father, who gave birth to the islands of Hawaii. The summit is where the sky and earth were separated to form the heavenly realms and the great expanse of outer space. The unique geology on top of the volcanoes could have come from another world. Which is why in the 1960s, NASA's Apollo astronauts trained in this lunar landscape. Since the astronauts were pilots, not geologists, they used sites in and around Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park to practice collecting rocks and dust, and to learn how to drive. The Apollo astronauts test drove their lunar rover on top of Hawaii before their odyssey to the moon. More than 40 years after the moon landings, NASA is still testing the next generation of lunar rovers on the Hawaiian volcanoes. Nowhere else on Earth has the combination of unique geology and extreme climate. Despite basking in tropical sunshine, the summits of the Hawaiian volcanoes are permanently frozen to just a few feet below the surface. In winter, the slopes are covered in snow and blasted by hurricane-force winds. In Hawaiian, Mauna Kea means white mountain. The people of Hawaii have a primal connection to the universe, tracing their genealogy back to all things, the earth, sky, and stars. So it's appropriate that with its high altitude, dry environment, and stable airflow, the summit of Mauna Kea is one of the best sites in the world for gazing at the stars. On top of the mountain is a cluster of 13 observatories, each funded by as many as 11 different countries. The Mauna Kea observatories are used for scientific research across the electromagnetic spectrum, from visible light to radio, and comprise the largest such facility in the world. The largest telescope on Mauna Kea holds the record for the most distant object ever seen, a new galaxy 15.5 billion light years from Earth. The massive mountains of Hawai'i Volcanoes National Park are the best understood volcanoes in the world. From the frozen summits to the fiery lava flowing into the sea, the national park is a geological and evolutionary showcase. Thrust naked from the sea and clothed with complex and unique ecosystems, the national park is a refuge for the island's native plants and animals, and a link to its human past. The Hawaiian volcanoes are truly one of America's most spectacular national parks.
Mondays on 3Net. Journey to the farthest reaches of our world and beyond for a 3D experience like no other. From the endless mysteries of space to the teeming life and stunning diversity of our oceans. Travel to the final frontiers of human exploration and witness the marvels of our world in a way you've never seen before. Prepare to be transported to the exotic, the unique, the distant, and the amazing. Explore the wonders of our universe that exist far above the Earth and far below its surface. Above and Below, Mondays starting at 8, only on 3Net.